I am super excited to have on two fabulous ladies. OMG.
That's us.
Yes, that's you. Kara and Jessie. If anybody that's watching this, you'll know these are big time ladies in San Diego. Everybody knows them. If you haven't seen Kara, she's been on Survivor.
Yes.
Did you win?
I did not. No, thanks.
Did you get even close?
I never got a vote against me, but I lost in the fire making challenge.
Son of a bitch.
I know. I didn't know that was a thing until I got there, and I was like, I made fire fine until it counted, and then I blew it big time.
Jeez. Unbelievable.
What year was that?
2018.
What?
Felt like a year's a long time ago.
Well,
Yeah.
it is a good amount of time. And Jessie, you give us your background, but we'll talk more into this, but you're running San Diego Real Producers here in San Diego.
Yes, sir.
For all the agents and parties and fun and all of that. So tip on that for 30 seconds.
Tip on that for 30 seconds. Well, we're hosting our biggest event of probably my career, our 5-year anniversary party next week. So on the 10th of November. And, you know, it's funny because even in these weird market shifts, I feel like we're just getting bigger and better and getting deeper, you know what I mean, and connecting. So I love it. I'm excited about it.
You know, I remember meeting with you, how many years ago was it now?
I don't know. I've known you since like the start.
Yeah, but it was like literally the start.
2017,
and then
I moved here.
Yeah, and you said, this is what I'm doing. And it was from Skylar Hoffman. We connected. And then to see like where it's gone is incredible. So
I love Sky too.
0 to hero.
Yeah, I think.
Are you?
Yeah.
Tell him I want to drive his wife's Targa Porsche, 922 Targa. He bought. I'm very jealous. It's one of my favorite cars. I texted him. I said, I'm coming over and I'm driving that car. He's like, yeah, come on over, dude. So
I'll tell him today.
there you go. You're like, bitch, let him drive it. Kara, give us your background. So you got obviously real estate. Everybody knows you. Survivor show. You got former Charger girl with all your Charger. I mean,
Oh, that's
come on.
Right. That's
San
cool
Diego
too. I
for-
totally
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us like a pom-pom? No, not really. No.
Yeah, I was a Charger girl 2011 to 14.
Okay.
And yeah, I went to San Diego State. I'm like San Diego.
You did San Diego State?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did.
Do you like the new stadium? The Snapdragon?
The Snapdragon. All I heard about was the first opening day where it got so hot that everyone had to leave because they were melting. But it's sad because when Qualcomm was getting literally demolished, you drive past it on the freeway and you kind of cry a little bit. But
I remember that. So real quick, I'm going to hit you guys up with some fast fire questions.
Okay.
Tell me kind of one or two things you're most passionate about for you, Kara. Like, yeah, 2 things.
Okay, well, there's not a lot of time to think. So cats came up first.
Cats?
Unfortunately, I know for a lot of people watching. Okay, your turn.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have my second kid. I have obviously Rogan, who is 19 months. So one thing I'm pretty passionate about right now is like communicating effectively with toddlers and helping like grow a good human being. Do you know what I mean? Like instead of like a shit human being.
Do you think kids today, you know, I don't want to generalize, but do you think they're being raised differently to where they're not being taught certain values or core values or things maybe you were taught when you were younger and stuff like that?
I don't know. Again, can't generalize it. All I know is I'm following some really, really good people through Instagram, social media in general. And also just when I see a good mom and dad talking to their kid when there's something, they're having a meltdown and I can see the way they're interacting. I'm like, oh, note to self, what happened there? And I literally have a notes section
in your phone?
In my phone. Yeah,
Really?
hell yeah. Like, okay, when he hits you in the face, what do you say to him? Like,
Or when he hits another kid in the face.
Yeah, or he hits another kid. Yeah, so I'm like literally, so I can look at my talk track, like, hey, buddy, I can see you're frustrated. It's not okay to hit. And like, just keep saying that till he finally stops hitting, I'm assuming. So again, just learning all of it, but that's one thing I'm truly passionate about right now.
Do you spank your kids?
No, I don't hit him. He's only like 19 months.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
Honestly, when he's old, maybe when he's older and he
Child
can
Protective Services to the call at the
like,
podcast.
So tell me, when are you going to start?
Yeah, like he's a little too young right now, in my opinion, because he doesn't.
Yeah, you can't
But yesterday,
spank a 19-month-old.
But truthfully, yesterday he did smack me in the face, and hit me, and he hit me kind of hard, and I was just like, and I ignored it because if you make a big deal, they'll keep doing it. That's what
Totally.
he wants is a freaking reaction, right? So anyway, I ignored it, and then I thought to myself, and I said underneath my breath, but he's sitting right beside me. I was like, "Don't hit me again, man. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you back."
That's
I'm
like
gonna
how
fucking hit you
normal
back.
human. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
I'm like,
well,
you hit me enough, I'm gonna hit you back. But no, we're not gonna participate again. I'm not gonna.
In that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna ever. I hope that I hope that I could be a great mom, that I could take a deep breath and say, "Wow, you've really upset me. I'm really upset now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna walk away because I don't want to do anything or say anything that I don't want to do. So I need to be alone and like do that instead of, and let him see it's okay to be angry.
Yep.
But it's not okay to like react.
Sure.
It's not okay to do those things.
Yeah.
Unless it's warranted. If someone's bullying you, you need to punch them so hard that they don't remember what happened. Like that's another whole topic.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Guilty pleasures. What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh my God, bad reality TV. Oh my God, my answers are so not deep. I'm so sorry.
No. This is fast fire. This is the beginning.
And then, so basically I'm very, surface level. Guilty pleasure, yeah, I would say right now I'm really into watching The Challenge. Unfortunately, I just can't.
Which show?
I need something it's called The Challenge. It's on MTV.
MTV still around?
I thought the same exactly.
It's Paramount Plus now is where I stream it off of, but the days are so convoluted with conversations, and I think so. Then when I watch something, I just want to sit there and zone out, and I don't.
What's yours right now? I mean, your mamahood, and I mean, is it special food? Is it something like wine? Is it?
No, I don't really. A guilty pleasure. Yeah, I do like one alcoholic beverage a week ish, like a beer here and there or whatever. That's fine. But I think that I'm kind of on Kara's track too, like The Handmaid's Tale. Oh my God, I can't get enough. I can't wait till Wednesday and it comes back on. I'm like, ugh. So I don't watch a lot of TV either. But yeah, I have to zone out here and there because we just have a lot going on in our brains. So I have to unplug.
And with the market shifting, because we're here obviously at the end of 2022 and we see interest rates rising, we're seeing what's happening in the real estate industry as a whole. What are you seeing? Obviously, I know you can probably talk from all the realtors, but for you specifically in the markets, what are homeowners thinking? What are home buyers thinking? What are agents going, oh shit, are we going to lose half of them like we did maybe last time at some point? What are your thoughts?
There's a reference online. You might have seen it. You probably saw it too, where sellers think it's 2021, buyers think it's 2008, and then realtors are just pointing at things disappearing. That's pretty much what I'm dealing with right now. And unfortunately, sellers are wishing that they sold in the spring, that they didn't. They have to keep adjusting their expectations with the rising interest rates, and it keeps changing a little bit. But if things are priced correctly, then it's like a normal market that we saw back in 2016 to 18, which everyone can get creative, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. And I just did a video on AITDs. Are you familiar with
Can you explain?
Yeah. So it's, it happened back in the 80s and 90s when interest rates were 13, 14, 15%, but you had other people with mortgages that were lower. So the perfect example is the last 10, 12 years, everybody's gotten these 2, 3, 4% mortgages, right? And they have them fixed 30 years. So people have. So if you wanted to go sell your home, someone's going to buy it. They need to get now a new loan for 6, 7, 8%, and it makes it tough. Hence the reason things are changing. However, you could go in and you can do an all-inclusive trust deed where, let's say it's $1 million home and they give you $1 million. Your first trust deed on the property currently is, say, $600,000. Okay, great. So we're going to take that $600,000. You're also going to give me a deposit, say, of $100,000. Right. So now we have $300,000 left over, right? $600,000 first, you're giving me $100,000 deposit, right? So now we have $300,000 in equity on top of that. So we're going to take the 600 plus we're going to add 300, right? And you gave me 100, so it totals $1 million. We're going to wrap all of that into an all-inclusive trust deed. And maybe I'll make up an interest rate as a homeowner now at 5%. It's going to be recorded on the property for the benefit of me. I'm now the bank, the seller. Yep.
Got it.
The buyer gets the property, transfer title. They're basically paying my existing mortgage plus an extra % on my $300,000, right? I get to sell the home at a price I want. The buyer gets a property and get a lower mortgage they can actually afford. Property transacts. Now, there's a caveat to that.
The $300,000, is that a separate loan or is that also?
No, it's all wrapped into this all-inclusive trust deed. You're taking the first and the second and wrapping it into one loan called an all-inclusive trust deed. And that gets recorded onto the property. Yeah, for the benefit of the seller, me. So if you don't pay, I can foreclose back on you.
I feel like
So
I
that's my
just-
protection.
I love this, and I feel like I just heard this. Actually, Hennish, you know Hennish.
Yeah.
I think he mentioned something similar to this.
The only caveat is most loans today that people have a due on sale clause, right? Where if you were to do this, technically, the bank could ask you to pay off the loan, right? 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do that. They just want to get paid.
What banks and lenders are doing this?
Oh, no, there is no banks and lenders doing it
It's
because you're not.
between the buyer and seller.
That's
straight
correct.
up.
Because you're
So
not
you have to-
changing any of the loans on the
So
property.
you just have to have enough capital to be able to do that, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the capital, you're going back to traditional banking.
But most people do,
Lending.
especially with how, even if you bought 2 years ago, most people in that situation who would sell would have that. But you're right. So if they don't have the equity, then it's not really.
Yeah, because you're basically combining seller financing with the existing loan on the property to provide the buyer, and then you're just delaying getting paid off, right? Because I remember I gave you 100,000 cash, so you're getting something, and then you're basically carrying 300 on top of the 600 that's already on the property.
So say
We're wrapping that into one loan.
Say I've got 2 people who I explain the situation to, buyer and seller are both on board. My first call is what? To title and say,
No, your first call is to the attorney who's going to draft the AITD. Correct. And they'll have a template for it. I mean, Skylar does these, other attorneys do them, and it's a documentation that kind of explains it all. And then you have the note, and then you have the deed of trust, right? The deed of trust gets recorded. The note is for our benefit between buyer and seller. No, so here's the kicker too, is if you know, your lender always asks for you to update your insurance, right? And that's how they typically get notified. If you have changed title, if you've changed lenders, if you've changed anything, it's through the insurance. So you're going to keep both insurance policies. You're going to keep the current insurance policy that you own. Like say if you're the seller, I have my insurance with Farmers. Me as the buyer, I'm going to get another insurance policy. So you do have to carry 2 homeowners insurance policies. Because if I cancel mine, if you as the seller cancel your insurance policy, what do you think that's going to do? It's going to notify the lender. What do you think the lender's then going to do? Right? So you don't want to notify the lender. I mean, I'm not giving you guys bad information. I'm totally going to get sued for this shit. I've done.
That's why you got Sky. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. Disclaimer: I did not tell you to do this. Okay, you can go do it.
It's
if
an
you
option.
choose. It's an option. It is creative, and I've done a few of these. I'm not telling you which dresses, but I've done a few, and they're great.
No, and to your point though about in a market when you shift, it always bothers me to see that like compliance wise, they still hold tight on certain things and there should be flexibility when we have these big shifts and changes to give people more opportunity.
And there usually is. It just takes time for that to happen. Right. So now you're starting to see these 2-1 buy downs, and then next week something else will happen, and then the world will come to an end, and then 3 weeks later something else will shift. So they just are usually behind the curve a bit, and then they have to catch up because lenders still need to make money. They still need to do loans. Deals still need to happen. So people are going to have to get creative.
Right.
The markets will shift and change and blah, blah, blah. But obviously the rates went up again yesterday. And unfortunately, they're not giving us any indication as to when they're going to kind of level out, which is a bit scary. My gut tells me that you got 1 or 2 more rate hikes. For first quarter is kind of where I'm seeing them go, oh shit, we overshot. And now you're seeing the jobs change, because that's the key component to the whole thing is you have to see the employment picture pull back. Because if people feel secure, they spend money when they have a job. If they don't have a job, they don't spend money, right? And then they can't pay rent, can't pay mortgages, can't pay all this stuff. So then everything, the consumer pulls back, companies pull back, boom. So you need the jobs to start coming this way, and you need employers to start laying people off. I hate to say it, but that's the only way we're actually getting into the full-on recession. You have to have the jobs change.
So we have to go that direction in order for it to turn back around?
Yeah. We got to go in before we can come out.
I can agree with that, because otherwise they would have changed it when everything was so wild back in the spring. They would have made a shift, but they did. I feel like, the Fed, they've got their own. They're always just a little late to the.
They're always late, and they always overshoot. So when they're telling us, oh, we're going to try and do a soft landing, or we don't want it to be a hard landing, meaning they don't want to take us into a deep recession. But what they don't understand is there's no way we can actually go through this without a deep recession.
Without going through it.
Like you actually have to have a good hard landing. Jobs pull back. That takes time. Everybody loses their shit. and then you finally balance out 18 to 24 months later. It's the only way, painfully. But they're not going to tell you that on live TV on CNBC.
Well, and they're not going to tell you that because of what the elections coming up, and just people are positioning, man, and they're not going to air out dirty laundry.
Well, and think about if
votes go down.
Honestly.
I mean, think about it. If Jerome Powell actually came out and he said, "Hey, listen, we're going to tank the shit out of this thing, and you all are going down like a ball of flames." I mean, do you know what would happen to the stock market? I mean, you lose trillions. Right?
It'd be.
That's what's playing into so much of the trepidation with buyers right now. Is they're coinciding the fact that if the Feds are pushing for recession, which they are, then people think it's going to be this housing crisis, which it doesn't necessarily have to be. Yeah, in 2008 it was the same. It both kind of completely crumbled. But this is more similar to what we saw in the 80s, where we were in the same place with oil prices and where they were relative to today. And I feel like people don't understand that the housing market doesn't have to crash if we go into a recession.
Right. You have a softening.
Yeah.
A normalization, softening in housing.
We needed. Right?
It's all about supply and demand, as we all know, right? Because we still, even with these rates, higher and sales slowing and all this thing, we still have a supply problem. If you actually look at this, I mean,
it's true.
Because you have a lot of people who have said, "Oh crap, I have a home. I have a 3% 30-year fixed mortgage. I just won't sell right now. Screw it. I'm going to sit tight. I have 3%. I'm not going anywhere." So now you still have a supply problem, like not enough coming onto the market to really overtake what's not selling. So you're kind of in this dichotomy of going, okay, yeah, market's slowing, prices are adjusting a bit, rates are higher, but we're not seeing a crash because we still have a supply demand imbalance.
Well, I'm curious about your business for on your investment side.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, by the way, well, two questions. One, are we seeing the same supply issue nationwide that we see here?
Yes.
Okay. And then curious on what's going on the investment side, apartments, what you're doing. Do you feel like this is the same as real estate, or do you feel like there's so much opportunity in this?
A whole lot of shit's going on sale next year.
Yeah.
And let me explain why. Because what people don't know is 70 to 80% of all the apartments that were purchased for renovation purposes, like value add apartment deals, we are one of them. So I can speak hand on this. Now we're adjusting quicker and getting way ahead of it, but a lot of them were done with short-term bridge debt financing, meaning you'd go in, you acquire it with a variable rate debt that's not fixed, that's say a 2-3 year mortgage loan, okay, that has renovation dollars attached to it. So an acquisition, we acquire it and we have like $2 million in renovation dollars. We're going to go ahead and renovate the property, raise the rents, restabilize it, and then we'll refinance that property post-renovation. Not a problem. It's all worked for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Things have been great. When interest rates are 3%, 4%, not when they're now 7.25%, 8%. So basically everything's doubled.
Right.
So now, even on some of our deals, like we're working with the banks currently to give us more time, extend out an interest reserve on the deals, allow us to renovate the property. Because once we're renovated, we'll be at a point where we can service the debt. But now we have interest reserve carrying us through, and we're adjusting the business plan accordingly. But that's just because we're able to do it on a couple particular properties. There's some people who can't, meaning even post-renovation, they can't get the rents they were projecting. They can't get the dollars they're projecting. Therefore, there's no exit opportunity for them to refinance. So they're going to be pushed into a corner where they're going to have to exit the property and sell it, potentially at a loss or just whatever. And I'm talking a lot. Like there's a lot of properties, apartment stuff that was.
Aren't you in just the perfect position?
So, I mean, we are looking to raise money.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we didn't get into a lot of those. We only have a couple of them, but most of our stuff has now been refinanced into fixed rate debt. We have one property we're working through and working with the bank now, and I think it's going to be fine. We're adjusting the business plan and things will prosper on it. But there's a lot of people who are not going to be that lucky.
No, and that's why I'm glad I asked this question, because I'm curious, and I know my husband and I are interested in syndicating with you anyway. So I'm just curious.
Thank you.
I'm just curious for my own.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do what you do at that level, or at least I couldn't do that overnight. I couldn't do that within the year, etc. Right? It'd be cool to learn and like partner with people as I go, but I know you're very, very good at this, and I'm just interested in stuff out of San Diego anyway for funsies.
Mm-hmm. And San Diego is probably the only place in California left that I would actually invest in. hate to say that. It is. I mean, it's just because we're thankfully a moderate county, right? We're not too far left. We're not too far right. We got pretty good balance with the military. People have level heads on. They're not making too crazy of decisions. And that's all I ask for, right? I don't want extreme one way or the other, just right. So that keeps the politics in line, keeps any ordinances and new laws and everything in line to where they're not too pro or against development, blah blah blah. In the growth in the economies and businesses, like they're not destroying things, right? So it allows this economy to grow. It's very dynamic. People don't realize San Diego with the biotech, the pharmaceuticals, the military, civilian, which is the largest concentration of military anywhere in the world for the U.S. I don't know if most people know that.
That makes me feel so safe and freaks me out at the exact same
I can guarantee we're on.
That's a good point.
We're on a nuke.
We're a big target.
We're on a nuke.
I heard that.
We are on a nuke map for sure. We're on a nuke map for sure. So there's
We're right there. But if I was gonna get nuked, I want to be right in the center of it. I don't want to be on the outskirts and just like a little messed
Make
up.
it fast.
Come after me. Just
make it fast.
Take me
Yeah.
out for real.
Totally.
Honestly. But you're right. But
Yeah.
to that effect, I think a lot of people underestimate San Diego's ability to escape a recession altogether because of all the facets that support it. What you mentioned.
You're not even talking about the blue ocean economy, right? Which is right along our coastal waterfront called the blue ocean economy. So CNBC did an article, like a whole series on it, I think earlier this year, and they talked about what's happening along our waterfront in downtown, right? And with all the oceanography, the sciences, the life sciences, all the bio, all that stuff that's going on is massive. And then we're kind of becoming, I don't want to say a tech of the South, right? But you have LA definitely has its hub. We all know with, up in Silicon Valley, but we're kind of becoming this little tech hub.
Sure.
Google expanded into here with a massive, Amazon expanded here, massive, right? We have other tech companies here, startups, ClickUp, all these big guys that are playing ball in the tech space. You have tech, you got the military, civilians, military contracting. Most people don't realize all the drones, all the missiles, all the technology is all built here in San Diego through Lockheed Martin, Spaywar, Northrop Grumman,
Yep.
on and on and on, right? So big military contracting company. Wireless, most people don't realize San Diego is the wireless capital of the United States. Did you know that?
No.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
A lot of the wireless, Qualcomm, right? A lot of the chips, the chipsets, all these big wireless things are all done here in San Diego. A lot of the major wireless carriers, San Diego hubs.
Get me all excited about investing in San Diego.
There's only a few places that I would, nowhere else, right? San Diego's is very dynamic in what's going on. And then, of course, we're not even talking about south of the border and that dynamic between Mexico and the U.S. That's huge. It's massive. So,
And then the influx of people being able to be remote too. So now we have the best of people coming from San Francisco, Seattle, New York, who want to be in the sunshine. So what we have in the city, the infrastructure, plus what we can get, because we're just a desirable city. This is why I'm so passionate about, I feel like I'm preaching to my buyers.
There we go. There we go. But once people understand the dynamics of the economies and what's here in San Diego and still coming, I'm very bullish on San Diego. Anywhere else in California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got family up north, and I couldn't see investing up there. I don't know. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me.
So talk about this new little show thingy that I saw on Instagram. What's up with that?
Okay, so I was on Survivor and I was fortunate enough to meet some really cool people. My cast was incredible. I'm obviously in a relationship with one of them, met some really great friends. And
wait, is that how that happened?
Yeah.
You're from Survivor?
Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense. Congrats.
What's his name?
His name is Alec.
Nice.
So we all met on Survivor and I made it I was final 4, and in the final 3, there was our winner, Nick Wilson, Mike White, who I had known from seeing him on TV, and just respected his work because I thought we had like the same humor. And I always you never think you're going to meet anybody. So then, and Angelina was in there too. She's a really great friend of mine also. So Mike and I became close on the show and then stayed close afterwards. He's just one of those really great people I would have in my circle regardless. And it's just like this really crazy, weird bonus that he's like super high up in Hollywood and then wrote and directed and produced his own HBO series that did insanely well. With just his first season, just won 10 Emmys.
No shit.
Yeah. The White Lotus.
The White Lotus. I haven't even heard of it, but I feel like I should. It's on HBO. I don't have HBO.
That's what it is. I don't have HBO.
I'm so jealous you haven't seen it yet because you get to experience the magic. Watch season 1. I promise you, it's just like, the humor about it. It's very, touches on a lot of different topics of life that are just like shamefully and really well done. Like shameless.
Did he play in it?
Is it like Breaking Bad, like really well written and awkward and deep and dark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say it has some elements of
that show. I couldn't.
You couldn't get into it?
I hated the way Jessie and Walter communicated.
Oh, well, it clearly wasn't very good.
I could not.
They had a little bit of a problem.
Yes. Like I hated that. And I was like, why are they doing this?
But that's what made it so dynamic. They're like fucking each other up. Excuse my language. On every episode, you're like, oh God, they're gonna kill each other, and then they don't. And
or
they love each other, and then they don't.
Just help each other, and you can get through this.
I know Jesse's like trying to problem solve.
You're right. Yeah, you're like trying to be more logical than it needs to be. Okay, way more logical.
But wait, is he in the show or is he just directing it?
Okay,
directing it.
If you know Mike, like he wrote School of Rock and he was in it. This is one of his projects he's not in, so he isn't in it. I think it would be impossible for him to be doing all that he's doing and then also be in it. It's probably really overwhelming. But no, so he's not in it. He's just the mastermind. Like everyone looked, I had a chance to sit with him on set, and everything that happens, everyone looks at Mike. Like he's literally the point person. So anytime the scene ends, like they're trying to figure out, like, was it good? And he's so chill. He's just like, great.
Oh, funny.
It's just.
So then this other show came from that, I'm guessing.
So then this is season 2.
So White Lotus is the name of the show.
White Lotus.
And you're on the show.
I am. So I'm on the
season 1 and now
of season 2. Yep. Alec was in season 1. He actually had a character and a name. His name was Hutch. He'd show up every once in a while in like every episode. And then for me and Angelina are just in the opening scene with the
extras,
the main characters. Yeah, she like interacts with us. We're like vacationing, and our goal was to look rich and just be on a Sicilian getaway. I was like, oh,
so hard. Life is horrible.
So yeah, we have like 3 lines each, and yeah, just like a short interaction. But it was one of the coolest things. I have a lot of respect for people in Hollywood because it is not our 3 lines took 2 days.
What?
So
because you start and stop, hit. Okay.
We were like battling with the waves who wanted to take over the beach, so we had to like fight with the elements.
That took that long.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people involved. Lots of people involved. There's a lot that goes into it.
I could understand even on a small level only because I attend some of the photo shoots that we do for our publication. And honestly, just doing a photo shoot, it's exhausting. Like just to sit and, I know it sounds stupid, but to sit and smile and like be and have a really successful photo shoot, it's challenging. It's challenging for the photographer. If you're having a shit day, it's challenging.
Oh yeah, there's
like
lots of variables.
And then you're self-conscious about the way you look and blah, 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 all those things. So like I can understand that, God, Hollywood must be a whole nother level because it's video and making sure that all like you get the final product that you really want.
Yeah. Yep. You're 100% right.
I guess I have to download HBO now.
I got to get on it for Yellowstone too or something.
So jealous. I want to watch it. I've watched the first season 3 times because it was just good.
Because your man was in it. So like,
that too.
I gotta like see him.
And it's only 6 episodes. So like you want it to be more. It ends perfectly.
Yep.
Next one I think is 7 episodes. But yeah, good people in it too. And Emmys. I don't think that's ever happened to a show. They got nominated.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
So diving a few layers deep now, since we're on the Abundance2Give podcast. What one tip, if you were going to give a tip to a young entrepreneur, would you give? Like from where you started and where you started, everybody's looking and we live on Instagram and we live through lives of people and everybody wants to live through opinions of people and all this other bullshit. Like what kind of things would you give? One thing, if you can think of as a tip for a young entrepreneur trying to grow, boom.
Maybe because you touched on what I was thinking in my head, what I was formulating. You were like the opinions of other people. And I think for anybody starting a business, real estate, or, the massive publication that you're dealing with, or any business that in life, you're going to be really excited about it and you're going to tell people about it. And those people are going to have all kinds of things to say, what you should be doing, who you should talk to. So I think my one biggest piece of advice, I've got about 50 floating around my head, but the one is just stay true to your gut and make that decision on your own. Because it's been really difficult and, convoluted for you to not just take bits and pieces of what everyone says, feeling, is that what I'm supposed to do? But no, you know your business. It's like a relationship. You know your business, you know your relationship better than anybody ever could. So you're the only one that can make that.
I like that.
And you?
My biggest piece of advice actually wouldn't change. It'd be the same piece of advice that I would give like to myself 10 years ago. And it's network. Like you have to, especially right now within real estate, like you have to go to work. You have to connect with people. You have to network. And you have to do everything else too. The social media, the videos, the everything infrastructure wise, right? Of course. But nothing will ever beat a handshake, an in-person meeting, getting to connect belly to belly, rubbing elbows. That's it's always my go-to way. And maybe it's because I enjoy it, and B, I feel like that might be my superpower. Maybe that's why I love it. But that's my one piece of advice is that you got to go to work, man. You got to find every networking event that is possible. Even if you feel like it's a waste of your time, try to meet 2 people. And then follow up with those 2 people and ask them how they can serve you and how you can serve them.
Yeah.
Like, period. Ask them for whatever you're looking for. Ask them if they can help introduce you to those types of people. And just keep asking and networking.
Yeah, and I heard somebody, Jen Gottlieb and then her husband, I think Chris Wiggins, they do kind of teaching people how to get, media exposure and expand their presence and profiles and all these other things. They're based out of New York. And he was up on stage and he said something interesting. He said, listen, if you're going to have those interactions and networking and all that stuff, people like to help other people naturally. But the last thing you want to do, especially for somebody that may be at a certain level above you, is to go to them and say, hey, like, can you teach me? Can you do this? It's more about saying, hey, how can I serve you?
Yep.
And dive a couple layers deep into things that they like to get kind of into their personal space, and then saying, like, is there ways that I can maybe help you out with that?
Right.
Right? Because if you add value to their life, what do you think they're going to want to do? A law of reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
So if you kind of create that giving effect, hence abundance to give, you help others, the abundance kind of flows back, and boom, boom, boom.
Totally.
This whole thing happens.
Totally.
And I always, for a while, you would tell people, hey, this is things I'm planning to do. I said, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I said, I'm going to not tell people things I'm going to do. I'm just going to tell people when they're done. Because I found out too often, if you kind of shoot it out there, sometimes like weird negative energy finds a way to fuck that up.
For sure. And then you start doubting.
Well, and
whether it's a relationship, whether it's business, whether it's something out there, it's like everybody's eyeballs are on you if you're putting it out into the social world. Sometimes it's better to kind of like sit it behind the scenes, execute, and then show up and be like, ta-da!
Well, also, I'm big on doing what I said I was going to do. And I won't name names, but a couple years ago, I do remember this guy who runs a bigger brokerage saying that they were going to make X amount of videos every day for the year and stuff. And of course, you get burnt out. So you overpromised your community what you were going to give. And people love hearing from him, but like, and then the content just stopped because he got burnt out. And it's like, don't say that then. Just do it and just say, or here's what I'm going to give this a shot. We'll see how this goes. And like kind of almost, it's not like you need to give yourself the out, but like don't say you're going to commit to that, do that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm just a big on being a person.
Like that. I think
under promise, over perform.
Yes.
Yeah.
Versus the other way.
100%.
I think some people do that so that they're like, oh, if I say it, then I have to, my body will follow and I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah, you'll have the accountability built in from your network and stuff, but then it just turns and shoots you in the ass and makes you feel like shit. That doesn't, how does that serve anybody and mostly you?
Yeah.
You know?
Are you guys big manifestors? Like, meaning, do you have vision boards? Do you write things down? Do you try and send frequencies into the universe and then kind of see how things happen?
I'm into
Are you?
it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm into it. I'm crystal.
Law of attraction.
I've got stage and shit. Yeah.
So I had somebody say the other day, they said, okay, the law of attraction is bullshit. And I said, well, no, it's not. I said, but the piece you're missing in the whole thing is you can't just like think it or say, hey, I'd like to do this, and then allow it to go out into the universe. He says, the point you're missing is kind of the action part. Because what'll happen, and I'm sure you've seen this, you'll say it, hey, I want to create San Diego Real Producers Magazine and make it be blah, blah, and you send that frequency into the universe. What's going to happen when that happens is now you got this frequency up here. Other people are kind of trying to come meet it. Opportunity is going to start very slightly coming your way. You have to identify them, know when they're happening.
Right.
A door gets cracked, maybe you get a meeting. A door gets cracked, you get to go into this, you get to do this, you get to have this opportunity to meet this person.
Right.
It's your decision oh, this networking event's going to happen where I can then expand the magazine and do this. You say, oh, I'm too tired today.
Right.
Oh, I'll do that tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, I'll get into it when I have more money.
Or I already know all those people there. I get that a lot.
Right.
Like, I've already networked and know all those people. Well, why wouldn't I'm big on, and I have to shout out Ben Biggs. He was one of the first agents I actually ever featured as a rising star. So he goes like he's known me since forever ago. But he always talks about inch wide, mile deep. And I
talked about that. He didn't talk about that.
There we go.
Just
So
kidding.
it's
No,
like
go ahead.
obviously
It's
a
just
thing.
fine.
Everybody knows it now.
I took it from him.
I actually haven't heard
Really?
it.
Probably.
No.
I don't know.
What is
Inch wide, mile deep.
Inch wide,
Mile
mile deep.
deep.
So you don't need 82 friends. You need like 10 quality friends that are a mile deep.
I like
that you can
Yeah.
that are your OGs that will literally you call them in the middle of the night, they'll get up, they'll whatever, right? You have those, and I honestly love that I can say I have different levels of people in my world right now, but I'm grateful that honestly there's so many like mile deep people in my organization that it's just so, and I'm talking like people like you, people that like I really, and there's just different levels, but people that I can call and be like, yo, I need your help. In fact, I just hit you up and was like, yo, where do you buy your gold?
No, you did.
I did. I was like, yo, Justin, you gave me a lead for someone who can sell gold not trinkets, but
Was it first bullion? First national bullion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So my husband went there and bought some gold because he's
Good.
like, we need to buy some gold, man. We need gold. We need actual gold. I was like, babe. He's like, where did Justin Brennan tell us to buy it? And this was in 2020. This is 2 years ago.
Physical
And I was
gold.
like-
You
I was
really are good with info.
Oh my God,
Dude,
he's the
gold.
best. I
But
listened
yeah.
to, dude, he's so fucking intelligent. So yeah, I was like, okay, let me ask him. And then he was busy and didn't get back to me right away. So I put a little question mark, like, yo, give me your gold hookup.
Give me the gold. I want
I'm sorry, because I'm actually really good. I try and be very good with
You are
responding.
very
So
good.
my bad.
It was like a weekend. So like,
Delaying
don't
it,
even trip.
yeah.
But like my husband was up my ass. Like, where does he buy the gold? I need to know in San Diego.
Where does he get the weed? No, just kidding.
Give me the good stuff.
Yeah. No, it's like, again, he follows that kind of stuff. So he's like very,
It's all about diversification, right? Some people say, oh, don't do 401ks, or you hear Grant Cardone, don't buy a house, yet he owns 3. I don't get it. But what he's not trying, what people don't understand is it's not about necessarily being in one thing. But you do have to diversify if you want to 10x your life, right? You 10x your money.
I know you've been hanging. Tell me about that connection real quick.
I have zero connection with Grant Cardone.
No. But
Oh.
you are connected to his old broker.
Yeah, yes. So Rudy Medina,
Yes.
who I actually have known since 8 years old. He used to be a tuna fisherman here in San Diego. And he used to be my dad's broker when my dad was buying apartment complexes and stuff around San Diego, Las Vegas, Southern County, blah, blah, blah. And he also, when he was with Marcus and Millichap, was Grant Cardone's broker. So Grant Cardone actually started here in San Diego, grew up in Louisiana, did some stuff in Houston, moved to San Diego, lived on Camino de la Costa, right on the corner of Neptune and Camino de la Costa, right across the street. He was renting a house. He'll tell you the story because I've heard it a few times. He walked across the street. I think it was just during the financial crisis or right before it. Anna Marie Bernard, who's an agent at that time, was listing the house off market, getting it ready. He peeked over the little wall and said, I want this house is amazing and I want to buy it. He ended up buying it for $4 million, flipped it for $8 million, right? Was his biggest, he'll say, this is my first major checks I've ever gotten, right? Went and bought multifamily with it. A 27 unit in North Park and a 48 unit in Vista, both with Rudy Medina,
Oh, okay.
who's now my co-general partner on our deals, along with Christopher Poli and blah, blah, blah. But that's the only connection. I've met Grant a couple times.
Right.
Super cool dude. And, he's obviously done what he's done. And I ran into him at the EXP conference not too long ago. And
Is he EXP?
yeah, he and his wife are both EXP. Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, hey, I think we know similar people. And he's like, oh, who? And I'm like, Rudy Medina. He's like, Rudy fucking Medina.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how could he forget?
Yeah, and he's like, oh my God. And he's had him at a couple of his conferences. And he says, how's he doing? I said, he's doing great. I'm like, I think he wishes he was still hanging out with you. And he's like, yeah, I bet he does. And Rudy gets a kick out of it. And we're doing a national city deal together and so forth. So, that's kind of the relationship there.
Oh man, that's so cool. So how many, do you still have that apartment complex in La Mesa?
We do. That's a 20 unit that's under entitlements. We should have permits here at the end of the year, beginning of next. And then we'll see if we want to build right now or just hold.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. Or sell it.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking to build a beautiful new apartment complex in La Mesa, I may have one for you off market.
When are you going to make that decision, you think?
Once we have the permits, I'm going to run some new analysis on the numbers and see where it stands, and then see if it's something, hey, maybe we exit and take that out of state, right? Or we could build it ourselves. We've obviously have the ability to do it. It's just
So
whether
it's just
or not.
land right now.
Yeah, well, there's a house on it that's renting, so there's not like a rush,
I see.
right? As my background went off for you.
That's cool.
So
So you guys got like hardcore software that like, and that you. I'm always curious because like again, this is all next level for me. But like how you said you're gonna like reevaluate, and so you just plug all these all this data into systems, and then it pops out and spits out like the number for you at the very end. Like
yeah, it's going to give you like there's financial models.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That you'll analyze. So
How
obviously construction costs have changed, rents, pricing, all that stuff's changed.
All that stuff is just.
Yeah, you can
goes
plug and
in the
play with it
background.
inside the model. It'll give you numbers. It's pro forma.
Do you have somebody that you hired that does that for you?
I can. I've learned it. Yeah, I learned it. That's what I went to school for. I did financial stuff in school.
That makes
so
sense.
Like
yeah.
I can see that in you.
Yeah.
The financial part of it.
That's the C personality. Have you guys ever done these Enneagram tests?
Yes.
You know what it is?
That's the
So there's
numbers, right?
disc testing. There's the Strength Finder book, right, which is similar, and then there's Enneagrams. And I just took this recently, and I found out kind of what I was. I was like, oh my god, it's accurate as shit.
What are you?
And I'm like, I'm so fucked up. No, so I was I was a 3 was my main one. Then I was a 9 and a 2. I'd have to look at so one of them was the, so the 3 is the achiever. I figured that. 9 was the organizational dude or whatever. And then the last one was loyalist. So I got to, and there's literally pages about you.
Yeah.
It's so
And
good.
it's
You
like
have to
so
do
accurate.
it.
And it'll
You have
match
to
you.
do
It
It's
can
really
match
good.
you up compatibility wise for businesses, right? Business partnerships, relationships, like all that other stuff too.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And it's pretty damn good.
Well,
I
I'm
was
so
like,
into
wow.
that because even disc, that's just like the old school way to do it. You can identify just by talking with people.
Mhm.
Disc, and I love it. I love it because I'm like, oh, okay, that person. Oh boy, that one's gonna be hard for me because I don't connect well with like a C or an S.
Sure.
Well, shit, you're connecting with me. No, I changed to a D though because you can adapt. So I used to be a CS.
Yep.
Which is basically like analytical and soccer mom. I was like, that's not going to work for where I want to go. Right. So then I
would say S is not soccer mom. S is how I would categorize it is steady and stable.
Meaning you're scared of risk and change. And I said to myself, there's no way I'm going to where I want to go if I'm risk adverse and scared of change.
Right.
Never happened. So I had to literally tweak myself to become a CD. So the D is the driver, director, go, boom, 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 make some decisions. Let's go take on the world.
Yes.
I literally had to make it.
See,
That's
make it
good that you have so many aspects of that though. Like me and organization, that'll just never be a thing. I'm always like, I've got the ideas, like I can like organize and delegate. So it's kind of nice to be like.
So you're more of like you worry about A to Z. You don't worry about B, C, D, E, F, G.
Literally, I see Z and I'm like, who is going to help me figure out B?
Gotcha.
Yeah, because
So you're visionary. You're D. I'd be willing to bet you're probably an ID.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I've done.
So an I is like more of the
I is
social.
like social,
about right.
love connecting with people, networking, and enjoys interacting with people. So yeah, I could see that too. You're probably like a DI, and then your S and C might just be really low.
Okay, we'll have to take it. It's always been the
Enneagram.
I'm battling with myself to figure out if I'm an extrovert or introvert, and I think I'm just both.
Yeah, which is okay.
Yeah, we talked about that last week when I saw you.
It's been a huge topic for me this year. It's like 2022 is like, what am I?
Well, but at the same time, we were talking about how like being on at events is challenging, and then like you can only do it now and then because it's just like exhausting, and you need.
If you're an introvert, you can like go for a period of time, and then you're like.
Well, that's what she said. She was like, I crash after these things. It was really hard for me. And I'm like, oh, you make it look really easy, you know. And I said, me too, though. After a bigger event, or after a long day, I'm tired. You know, I need that. I need a day that, or just I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah,
like, I need that. But I think that's everything.
Yeah, you got to reset. So if you won the $1 billion lottery, what is the first pleasure thing you would buy? And then what would you do to give back since we're on the Abundance2Give podcast?
You go first.
Okay. I would buy
Luxury gift. And then what would you give?
only one luxury gift.
The first thing.
Okay.
Like, what was the first
I
thing?
want to buy a ranch and have a horse. That's what I want.
Oh my God.
Cars, not.
Okay.
I love
A ranch and a horse. Where's the ranch at? Is it in Yellowstone?
No, it's in San Diego. I'm thinking like Alpine Julian. You know,
Okay.
but like a
I have friends that live in Julian on a little mini ranch thingy. They got chickens and they got some sheep and shit. I'm like,
Well,
oh.
if I win the
Alpine,
lottery.
I mentioned Jason the other day. I'm like, I mean, would you consider living in Alpine? He's like, no. But I'm like, I mean, I'm just open.
Okay. So that's the luxury gift. And then what is a cause that you're passionate about that you would love to be able to get back to?
Well, okay, if we get really deep, I've been wanting to research. So my mom died of breast cancer, and I've been looking for some type of research and development, whether I create one or I don't know. It's so beyond me. And I just like every time I want to donate, somebody has something to say about like, oh, that one's not the best, or that one's not the best. I would give something just because I feel like
Would you start your own, or would you just give to another one?
That's what I don't know. I would have to figure that out, but
Okay.
I would want to just make sure
Something with breast
that-
cancer.
Yeah, something that really actually makes a difference in
Yeah.
terms of like research or I just want to make a splash somehow.
Okay. Well, you could do a lot with that with $1 billion. And you, luxury gift and giving.
So-
1 billion lotto winner.
Oh man, I'm so boring on the luxury gift part because and this might be my like, we're talking about disc and stuff. This might be my C coming out of nowhere. Okay. But like, I just want to like pay off the house
Okay.
that we have.
That's practical.
Yeah. Like I want to pay off. It's the only debt we have is our house. So like, I just want to pay off the house. And then I really want to buy more property. I've been on a mission to just buy more property.
Yeah.
And I want to own more real estate, like nationwide. So I want to buy shit in like, not every state, but like I want to buy some stuff back in West Virginia. Not because I want to like help out my family. Like I talked to my sister about buying the house that she could just live in and obviously fix if things were broken, whatever. And she loved that idea. And so I want to do that, even if it's not like gonna make, I'm not gonna flip it or make a bunch of money right away.
Sure.
But I do want to own more real estate and own bigger stuff as well. And so that's what I would do. So it's not like a real like luxurious gift. But that's what I would do. And then where I would give is this organization came into my world last year. It's called Love Justice International. It's where actually the proceeds of our of our 5-year anniversary party are going to.
Huh.
So, and it's just basic human trafficking. But what I really like about them is they train normal civilians on all your borders and all around or not just the country, but all around like the world. And they train them on these borders so that when people are walking up, if they're trafficking, whether it's a kid or even adults that are being trafficked, because they don't even realize it. They're like, oh yeah, that so-and-so just told me I go with them and I'm just going to make I'm just going to send my 14-year-old son to make money for our family. It's like, no, dick, your fucking 14-year-old son isn't coming back.
Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like just people that are super under, just super impoverished, very, very poor. And they're like, oh, but this man just told us we're just going to go and make some money. And so these are just normal people that really just need to get food on their table and food in their kids' bellies. So they train civilians to identify that and like, nope, stop. You're taking these kids and these people over the border, blah, blah, blah. So it's called Love Justice International. And I've been a big fan. So I would donate and spend more money with them.
Yeah. It's incredible. When I was watching, there's different types of trafficking, but like the sexual trafficking of young women.
Yeah.
And I think this is like one thing I can agree with on some people like heavily is like, I think Ashton Kutcher came out about it. Handful. I think not Ryan Gosling. What's ladies are like, oh my God.
Did you see him?
No, I love Reynolds.
both.
So Reynolds came out, well, because he's funny as shit. And he's awkward and he's, listen, he's a good looking dude. Like, I mean, if I were a chick, but he's good looking. And then his wife, Blake Lively. Okay.
Also, they're
She is,
Did you see
wow.
them in Hollywood?
No.
Oh, okay.
It never came. Actually, I very rarely get starstruck, but I think I would like panic and black
Oh, I
out
would
if I saw them.
100% panic.
So he,
And I'd be like, please, can I touch you? Can I give you a hug? Just tell me.
can I just get your energy? But he and Blake Lively are big on that. Ashton Kutcher and his wife are big on that, and he spoke heavily about the sexual trafficking of young women, which is a major, major problem.
Yeah,
It really
major.
is.
And here's the thing. I don't know if it's like where I grew up and was where I had exposure or something. I wasn't exposed to this until like kind of moving to San Diego and being like, wow, we're really close to the border. And like, okay, well, I guess. And then I started thinking about it, and it wasn't until after I had my kid. And then I was like, okay, we had to be really picky with nannies and people, because think about it. If she decides she wants to fucking sell my kid, seriously, they're 20 minutes, you're across the border, I'll never see him again in my life.
Yeah.
So, and he's a good looking kid. Someone would probably buy him.
Yeah, he's a hot commodity.
Seriously.
You gotta protect him.
That's when I was like,
yeah, it's scary.
I was
it
like,
really
it's
is scary.
terrifying.
I went, oh, wait, look, from my home, I live near SDSU, my home to, it's literally like 25 minutes to the border.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, wait, we gotta look into this, a
Yeah.
little more. So yeah, anyway, it's something that kind of like speaks to me a little more than it ever has, simply because, again, I've got kids coming in the world, and you gotta protect them.
Yep. So 2 last topics. First one being, what are your 3 core values? Meaning, is it kindness? Is it freedom? Is it integrity? Is it honesty? Like, what core values that you live by, top 3? And then do you see people like not following them very often? Because I feel like it's hard. Like, people say, oh, I'm honest. I'm like, well, you just fucking lied.
Yeah.
Right? Or I have
Or
integrity.
you fibbed a little bit.
Yeah, or I have integrity, but then they go screw people over.
This is funny you say this.
The biggest ones, sorry to interrupt you, the biggest ones are when, and I was talking with a friend about this, because they're like, oh, do you go to church every Sunday? I said, no, not every Sunday. I said, I grew up under Christianity. I'm not really a religious person. I'm more spiritual. And I said, the only problem I have with religion is I feel like it's too confined. And then I feel like there's so many, it's probably not fair to generalize, but I feel like there's a lot of people who Monday through Saturday are fucked up,
Yep.
excuse it, and then they go run on Sunday to church to try and like, oh, I'm a good person.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, you see what you just did Monday through Saturday?
Yep.
Like, you burned the life, and now you're trying to go, that's not kind of cool. That really bothers me.
I'm interested in truly like the end of like our existence. That person that does that all their life, which direction are they going if there's a heaven and hell? I'm truly interested. Because like you were just like full of shit most of your life.
Yeah, like
and then all of a
Dahmer.
sudden you just
You guys
keep
did-
asking for like forgiveness. I'm just curious.
Let me in the pearly
you know?
gates. Let me in the pearly
Right.
gates. Right.
Yeah.
Did
I'm
you guys
just-
watch Jeffrey Dahmer?
I didn't.
Okay, so
I was too my anxiety, because I after kid I've had a little bouts
Okay,
of
fair.
anxiety. But which has been, by the way,
I'm sorry I didn't have the mimosas for you.
No, I have no
You
anxiety.
guys not watching TV makes sense as to why you're so successful. Anyways, but it's like it's similar where he wants to undo everything in like the Christianity thing. So yeah, I have the same
Interesting.
question. I don't even
Yeah.
know. We don't know.
And we'll never know. That's the fun
Yeah.
part. So when I talk to the hardcore, sorry, I know we're going down this rabbit hole, but when I talk to hardcore Christian person, I just kind of have to like, again, take everything with a grain of salt. But I'm always like, oh no, you really don't get it. But like at the same time, they truly believe their truth. And there's something to be said about that.
Sure.
And the respect that I have for somebody who really believes and is passionate about that. But nobody will know until you die.
That's
I
very
like
true.
that it makes people want to be good people.
Of course.
I love
Of course.
that. I
Of
love
course.
that portion. But
Same.
yeah, there's a lot of boxes that you got to fit into, and that's hard for me on a daily basis.
Yeah,
So
that's a whole
honesty,
nother
integrity,
topic.
like what are some other core values?
God, there's a lot. You go ahead if you have your answers.
It's funny that we were touching on this in this one, Andrew. But I write down every morning, what I'm thankful for, my affirmations, and like some of them I feel like I intrinsically am just automatically, and then there's some things like I am patient that I have to will myself into being sometimes. Like
Sure.
for the most part, I'm pretty patient. But yeah, I think honesty is number one. Like I'm pretty honest no matter what I do. It's just like I blurt out the truth. Maybe it's like a flaw. And then, yeah, I try to be patient, and I think that's pretty high up on what I want to be. And then genuine, just it goes along on.
So authenticity is probably a good one for you.
That's
Honesty, like you said. Anything else?
There's a lot on that list, but I'll.
What is
spare
Alec?
you. We're a good balance.
Okay.
Like he's very honest also, like probably to a fault like me. Like he doesn't do well with guilt.
So he's a
like, "This
really
is
bad
what it
liar.
is." Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and, like,
important. I'm a shitty liar too.
Don't ask me to lie.
Like if you actually look at me in my eyes too much while I'm like trying to fib at you, I'm totally gonna like come out and like, fuck. Okay, you got me. You got me. You got me.
Yeah, no, his values, like I think in any partner, you have to find somebody with values that are, alongside yours. Nothing's gonna be perfect, but yeah, we definitely have the same values and integrity.
Okay. Beautiful.
That's funny because when I think about my man, we have the same values, but he's like opposite of me. He's like the high C, high S, very steady, stable, very analytical. I'm like, do the numbers make sense? Great, make the decision. I'm just like,
you got the D. You got the D in you.
I'm like, right now he's renovating himself at an ADU. Okay, 800 square foot in the back of our house. And he's like, hey, babe, can you come take a look at these lights? I'm like, babe, pick a fucking light. I don't care. He's like, well, can you just, I really want you to look at these lights. So I'm like, okay. And I realize what's happening. So I'm like, okay, baby, I'll come look at the lights. So I come and look and he's like, I'm going to put like skylights right here and here and here. What do you think? And of course I give him my feedback and it's nice, and I'm like, well, what's easiest for you? Like one big light or these skylights? And he's like, actually the skylights. I'm like, then go ahead and do that, honey. I love it. So looks great. Like it took me 2 minutes to make that decision. It takes him
Indecision, right? Yeah.
So
that's definitely the C. If you're like a hyper C, that can be you get paralysis by analysis.
and he's not that bad. He gets things done very quickly, but he does have to analyze every single thing.
Gotcha.
He cares
And
about the details.
He cares about the details, whereas I'm like, detail schmeetail.
Yes,
go. How do you feel? Awesome, move along,
Yeah.
And
So since we're on the relationship thing a little bit, what is your feelings on the Tom Brady Giselle thing?
Wait, what happened?
They're getting divorced.
No, they really are.
It was all over the Sports Illustrated and stuff.
Over him
I
playing
didn't-
I don't know, but I'm really hurt because I'm like, he's my borderline man crush.
No, Eddie
bro,
was the
man,
goat of-
thingy, Tom Brady.
For me to speak on because I 100% believe in autonomy in a relationship. Like Tom Brady wants to play, Tom Brady go play. And then I get Giselle. She's like, man, can you just sit down? We got a family.
Well, but keep in mind, he promised her. So this is what some back end stuff that I'm not fully aware of, but they're dealing with it. He had promised her, this is it. I'm done.
So
I retired, right? And then he's gone for a few months. I personally want him to go off into the sunset. Like, Tom, you can't do anything else, bro. Just go be with your family. Go have fun with your wife, Giselle, you crazy lunatic. Like,
how many rings does he have?
7.
Okay, then just get 3. Just get
What?
a couple.
Oh, one less? Oh, that's funny. Ha ha. Just one less. OMG.
Well, what I'm saying is, go get the 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, that's 3. Go get 3 more and be done.
Well, so he had 10. He was beaten 3 times in 3 Super Bowls, so he could have had 10. He's done. He's had 7. Every record. Like, dude, I know.
How old is he?
44,
See,
45.
okay, let me just say my 2 cents on this because again, I don't really know, but it's kind of like we were talking about before we jumped on. I feel like we are allowed to, as people, we are allowed to change our mind in a relationship.
Sure.
In business.
Yes.
You're allowed to say this partnership is no longer working for me, and here's why. And I just feel like you're allowed to do these things, okay? And that should be validated. So if he decided that he wanted to go and he really wanted to play 1 more season or 3 more seasons, and again, I don't know their situation fully, but if he decided that, then that he's allowed to change his mind.
Well, that's true, and she's allowed to change hers.
True. So yeah, that's right.
Right. So there's 2 people in that opinion, and I'm not speaking for her, but like, he's like, dude, you played how many years? You have how many rings? You have all this stuff. You promised like you're going to come to the family. I don't know the depth of it, so I'm not taking her side, but I'm sitting there going, dude, you have an incredible family, and I'm not blaming you, Tom, because maybe there's 2 sides of
like
this
his
thing.
family.
It's so tough because then I'm looking at Giselle also. Like I back her up, and then I'm also like, but your life is also great. Like let him play. There's so much from an Jessie opinions from an objective standpoint. I'm not in it, so it's easy for me to be like sit there and deal with it. But it's like what?
Well, she said they drifted apart.
Okay.
And that obviously typically happens from issues that keep dividing, and then you don't have good communication, and maybe it keeps going.
Right. And maybe him not playing would have brought that back together.
Possibly they spend more time. Who knows? But when I saw that, I was like, no way.
You have to get them on here.
You're all
next to
sad
talk
about
I'm like, dude, no. Okay, reconcile that shit.
Figure it out.
Okay, You're not getting a divorce.
Do everything. Do everything you can. That's another thing. Like, do everything you can to, like, go see people.
Salvage.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to. I don't like throwing away stuff. Like, you used to have to. You have to have conversations and figure it out. But if you just realize and identified that it just really isn't a fit, then like, stop wasting your freaking lives. That's where I'm at.
Sure.
Too. Like,
well, and core values are a key component of that, right? You don't necessarily have to be. You can be opposites, but core value systems, I think, are critical, because if those value systems are way off, then you're going to run into a lot of conflict.
Yeah. So I know definitely one of mine is authenticity, for sure.
Right.
Like, I don't know how to be somebody else. Like, I don't
Sure.
want to. It takes way too much effort for me to try to, like,
mold into something.
Yeah. Like, I'm sitting in front of so and so who's this top whatever. Let me try to do something different.
Right.
Like, I'm just like, hey, what's up? I just can't.
Sure. But people value that, right? And the people that don't value it, fuck them.
Right. And that's where, like,
There's a lot of people who want to do that and can't, because they
Right.
don't know how to do anything other than placate to who they're with.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's just never who I was. And even building this, starting to rub elbows with some people that were really top in real estate and top in even escrow and mortgage, and just these big wigs, dude. Like, these big owners that are just worth multi-millions. And I'm like, oh, this is so, but I'm always, but I realize they're so cool too.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, what's up? Like, they're people just like you
Yeah.
and me.
Human beings.
So yeah, I take all that away. And I think that that's why, even within what I've done, because people have asked me, obviously sitting with realtors, they're like, how do you deal with realtors? How do you
Great
even
question.
deal with these egos and blah, blah, blah? I'm like, because I smash their ego right the first time I see them.
Yeah.
And I don't play into their ego. Like, I don't
Right.
play into it.
You're not choking the chain.
Or I'll see that they have an ego and they're really spinning it. And if I try my best to build enough rapport to be able to, like, break rapport and then get it right back and, like, say something funny that kind of does that. So, anyway,
we talked about a lot of cool things. I hope you guys had fun. The hour just goes by like that. We can just keep going. We're going to be here till nighttime, mimosas. We're going into tequila shots. And
yes. Well, she's got some already.
There you go. Bling, bling, bling. Anything you want to add on, obviously we'll tag you guys on social media and do all that stuff. Thank you so much for coming in. Hope you had a great time. Talked about all kinds of fun topics.
Lastly, I will say, I've been invited to be on a lot of podcasts, but I don't do it, and I say no, and I say no. I say no because I'm like, I don't want to.
Yep.
No thanks.
All
But
right.
when you asked me to be on, I was like, okay, I'll come on, I guess.
I don't mean to say ditto, but
So, if you had to pick a foundation, because we like to help out here, what foundation would you like given to?
The Love Justice International.
The Love Justice International. Okay, I'll get in touch with you on that. And
anything breast cancer. One of my best friends is starting a nonprofit to connect people to their favorite organization. So
we'll talk offline. You let me know,
one.
but that way, we can abundance to give this thing. It's the whole purpose is giving back and helping others and so forth. So
yeah, we love you, man. So
Thank you.
Thanks for this. And
we're trying, having fun, getting to have cool guests.
Well, again, you're an awesome human being. Period.
Thank you.
Period.
Appreciate that. All right, we're signing out. Night night.
Bye.
bye.